Hi, it's Tacticus again. Salvage Run, love it or hate it. But with the sporadic appearances of survival events, it's that mode that keeps us afloat coin-wise. In this video, I go into how Salvage Run works and how you can make the most out of it. Some of those things I learned pretty late in my Tacticus career, and the game doesn't make all of it obvious. Before I start though, let me know whether you like Salvage Run. I personally like its simplicity and how fast it plays compared to the long slog of Onslaught. If you haven't used the referral code yet, it would really help me out if you used mine, bet 60 ado, and earn yourself 100 Blackstone by doing so. Salvage Run is a quick game mode played on a small map over around 6 rounds. You deploy 5 characters from an alliance of your choice. Playing over time sees you rank up your zones and getting more rewards. Since the rewards scale exponentially, it seems best to choose one track and only scale that one. I swear, I had a level once that gave like 30 Blackstone per run. Rewards include Blackstone, coins, forge badges, equipment items, salvage, components for machines of war, and Snotflogger charts. But which track should you choose? Equipment and machine of war components depend on your track. Imperial gives stuff for Xenos, Xenos stuff for Chaos, and Chaos stuff for Imperium. Luckily, a lot of equipment items are universally usable. Machine of War components are readily available in incursions and now also in the Guild War shop, and I never found myself lacking. It seems to come down to the choice of characters you have. I would advise you to go with the Imperial route as you're given Vindicta early game. She's a sister of battle that enjoys buffed critical chance for every enemy your Imperial characters kill. And if you choose the Imperial track, that's all of them. She can also attack twice during a turn once per game due to her active ability, so you should save that for the strong box. This is the most valuable pickup in Salvage Run, and can only be cracked by a critical hit. Vindicta feels enough for me, but you can boost your chances by using characters that can equip multiple crit items and fitting them out with the higher chance instead of the higher damage choice, because you really don't need damage for the strong box, but just a lucky crit. Other than that, I advise you to use characters that can hit multiple targets, or even attack multiple times a turn to clear all the pickups, as well as characters that can move fast, fly, or have unstoppable, so you're not locked out of a pile of coins. Especially when Vindicta is around and there's flames everywhere. The enemies. In Salvage Run, you face a mob of orcs in their junkyard. The enemies are hardly menacing and rather a distraction from the actual loot you want to acquire, so let's concentrate on that first. Salvage Run features a lot of steppables, quote-unquote enemies, that just lie there and die when you step on them, a bit like Certus. Those are piles of coins that award you a number of coins depending on your Salvage Run level, as well as piles of Blackstone that, unsurprisingly, give you Blackstone. There's also an occasional book or two. If those steppables are damaged by any direct damage, they go up in smoke and award their reward. That can be a psychic or otherwise area of effect attack that targets them, which makes Psychis really favorable in this mode. However, steppables cannot directly be targeted, so to get them via a psychic attack, you need to attack an adjacent enemy. I really like to use Mephiston for that, since his passive just evaporates 2 adjacent piles of stuff. For early game, Vindicta's area of effect as well as Varus active can help you to get a lot of steppables in one turn if you're falling behind. When there's no enemies to hit around, summons will also try to step on those, so having a few can help. Still, don't overdo it with the summons, as they can block your path to the more valuable stuff. Although they can't kill it because they can't crit, they'll still attack the strong box if there's nothing else to do, and you really don't want that inaccessible. I already mentioned the most important loot drop in the mode, the strong box. On most levels it arrives in the second to last turn, so your chances to kill it with that important crit are limited. You can see on top what enemies will arrive next round, so plan ahead. If you're using Sisters of Battle, you can maximize your chances by not attacking with them the round before and profit from the boosted crit chances. The strong box contains a mix of rewards, but most noticeably equipment items and 2 shards for Snotflogger, who's not only a good character in his own right, but one of the most effective Archaeotech farms, which will help you to get a steady income of experience books down the line. The next kind of loot is objects. Those different kinds of crates and barrels contain loot if you kill them. The explosives were problematic before, as they blew up when overkilled and didn't award anything. Since a recent update, that's a thing of the past, and I'd actually encourage you to blow them up. This will collect all stappables adjacent to the explosion and save you precious time. Lastly, there's the greenskins. Those are the only enemies that will actually be dangerous to you, but that's pretty negligible as long as you aren't woefully underleveled. It's mostly grots. Sometimes they are accompanied by an orc boy or even a grot tank. 2 things to notice here. All of them suffer from battle fatigue, and grots can multiply. You progress in the tracks and reach the higher levels of Salvage Run by accumulating damage done on a track. While you can't influence the damage done on any of the aforementioned enemies, with the living enemies you can influence it positively or negatively. If you have those guys flee, you technically didn't do any damage, which is bad, so try to avoid attacking enemies that are surrounded by their accomplices. If you have to, you can try to attack the middle of 3 grots with Vindicta or the likes. If you have to, try to attack the end of a line, so the least amount of battle fatigues are triggered. If they die before they can flee, that's fine. Multiplying grots can be your friend though. If you let a grot live, at full HP that is, they have a chance to call their mates over. This is great. More enemies to kill, more damage to dish out. Be careful not to kill explosives next to them. Letting them live only serves a purpose if they are at full health. You have to balance cultivating grots to your actual ability to clean the map, as this is your priority. Summons will actively sabotage you by killing them before they can procreate, so I actually try to avoid them in my runs. If you're low level and otherwise struggle to collect everything, summons can be a valuable helpers though. There's also crate carrying grots of 2 kinds. Those are harmless as they've got their hands full. The one kind carries an explosive crate that, will explode and give you some rewards for killing it. The other kind is more interesting, trying to protect a chest full of loot. Those will drop a stappable pile of coins on an empty hex next to them for every attack directed at them. So you should try to kill them by a death by 1,000 Draper cuts. If you see in the preview that you will face them, it might be worth it to include a weaker member of your roster in the fight. Those will be able to attack them more often and thus spawn more piles of coins. Here's a synopsis of all the tips so far. Let's get some more general advice. While you can advance your levels faster, not every level is immediately better than the one right before it. You can't do already completed sections and don't necessarily want to progress if the current level gives better than average loot. So if you're at a stage that gives significantly more loot than others, as the aforementioned Blackstone stage, you can try to make greenskins flee and not let them multiply to get more runs at that stage. Save your tokens. You can only hold 2 tokens, but on Saturdays you get double the coins. Token regeneration time is 12 hours, so even if you're at the cap, if you waste less than those 12 hours to get 1 more token in on Saturdays, you still have a net positive. This is easier for people outside of Europe who can spend the token directly at reset time. If you do this effectively, you get 3 runs in on a Saturday, netting you effectively the coins of 6 runs. You can use Salvage Run kind of ineffectively to get to use characters you wouldn't be able to use otherwise. This mainly applies to Xenos, as those lack campaigns they can be used in. Other than Arena, that needs considerable level ups, and Onslaught, which can also be difficult later on, this seems to be one of the best methods to fulfill character quests for Xenos without campaigns. If you want to watch a video on my daydreams on how to remedy this, you can watch this video. I hope this video helped some of you to loot a little bit more effective. As always, have a nice day and you'll hear from me in the next video. If you could just check whether you're subscribed or not, that would also be great. Goodbye.